Hey, what's going on YouTube? Will here from All Electric, back again with another video. And today we are changing the look of my tires. So my wife decided that she doesn't like these rims anymore. And even though when we bought this car used, if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a card up here in the corner, it had the Aero caps, which I kind of like. But now that she's driving the car a lot more, she's expressed her opinion that she doesn't like them. But of course she's driving this car more because I'm waiting for my Cybertruck, which is not here yet, but hopefully by the end of this year, we'll get to see that. So in this video, I'm installing the red caliper covers from Evanex and also the Gorilla lug nuts and wheel lock. In this video, you'll see a complete install of those. So let's jump right in. Now, before you get started with this project, you're going to want to make sure you have all the proper tools. What I used was a floor jack, so I just went wheel by wheel, lifting each wheel up to remove it and then install the brake caliper cover. So this is strictly a cover. This doesn't alter the brakes at all. This is the easiest and least expensive way to get that beautiful red brake performance look without having a performance car. If you've watched my used video, you'll know that this is a mid-range 2018 Model 3. Now, additionally to the jack stand and obviously the red covers, you're gonna need a couple other tools. So I reached out to my buddies at Lexivon and they were able to send me a torque wrench. So you're gonna need that to make sure that you properly tighten each of the lug nuts. Now, as you can see here, I started off with the wrong size. So make sure that you use the bigger one, that is the bigger red cover on the front, and the smaller one, the smaller red cover for the back wheels. So another easy thing to remember, and of course, all of this is labeled in detail in the instructions, which you can see me looking at, is keeping the rubber part, or that you can see that little black rubber part on that cover up. Now, I would say, as with most things, the first wheel took me about 3 times or 4 times as long as the last wheel took me. As soon as I got a full understanding of how exactly the cover hooked on to the brake caliper, it was really easy to do the remaining wheels. Now, I also want to say that you want to make sure that this thing is on there tight. You don't want this falling off while you're driving. Now, I definitely made sure that when I installed this, this was on there nice and secure and fit exactly as it was designed to, really tight onto the brake caliper. It has a metal bracket that is fixed on one side and then has a tightening bolt on the other. So what I found was best was to push the metal bracket that was fixed, which is typically on the bottom, pretty hard where it almost looks like it's bending, and then it would snap into place. Then I would get the top of it all set. You can see it's about 100 degrees outside and I'm sweating like a pig because I'm doing this in the garage. Thankfully, it's shaded and I'm not in the direct sunlight. Now, in addition to these red brake calipers, while I'm doing this, I'm also installing Gorilla lug nuts. So I chose the black lug nuts that Evanex has, and I'll leave links to all these products down below in the description. So since there is 5 lug nuts that go on this wheel and I'm using locking lug nut set, I put 4 of the Gorilla lug nuts on and used 1 of the locking lug nuts. Since there is only 4 locking lug nuts, you only need 1 for each wheel. I made sure to hand tighten these, and it's really important not to strip any of these because then you're going to run into a ton of problems. So I just took my time hand tightening each one, getting them as tight as I could using my hand, and then moving on and getting the wrench. So keep in mind the clearance on these brake caliper covers is really tight. You can see me here checking out where a clump of dirt was actually on the inside of the wheel, so when I spun it, it scratched the inside of the wheel. So for the remaining rims, I wiped out the inside of the wheel. You can see how tight the clearance is from that little nut on the top. There is plenty of clearance. There is nothing grinding at all once they were all installed. And I think part of that might have to do, I started spinning the wheel without having the lug nuts completely tight. So the wheel might have been a little bit off center. That might have been why it scraped a little bit. Now, when using a torque wrench, it's important that you actually set the torque properly. So Tesla recommends on all their vehicles 129 foot-pounds of torque. So I set the wrench from Lexivon. Again, I'll have a link to this product down below in the description. It's an awesome torque wrench that's really useful. Now you can see me there. I'm using the weight of the car to keep the wheel from moving. So the car is still in place on the jack stand, but I just lowered it down just a little bit to make sure that the wheel would not spin when I was tightening these. Now I'm putting on the locking lug nut. So to put on the locking lug nut, you first have to put on the key, which I like to do to prevent scratching on the lug nut, and then you use a torque wrench to make sure it's properly seated. Now it's good to go. I give a quick spin to make sure that I'm not scratching or anything like that. I'm really liking the look of these oversized red calipers behind these stock rims once you take the Aero caps off. Now with the other front wheel, the process is exactly the same, but you can see here that I actually had some clumps of dirt build up on the inside of the rim, which I did wipe out to prevent that scratching that I got on the first parts. Now I took the other large red caliper cover out of the bag, and you can see I was able to get this on securely pretty quickly after having a better understanding about the force and the direction that I needed to push this on. I found it best to use the bottom of it and kind of push it on, and that metal clip on the bottom would really hook right into place. Now with the back wheel, there's really not that much difference. The only thing is the caliper cover is a little bit smaller because the brake is a different size in the back. Now if you really want to get this done quickly, make sure you have as many kids helping you as possible. Of course, I'm just kidding, but I love having my daughter help me out with these types of projects, and she actually loves using the tools as well. Oh. Keep going. Wait for the click. There it goes.
There we go. Sounds finished. And that one. Raise it, raise it, raise it, raise it, raise it.
There we go.
There we go. That one. Raise it, raise it, raise it.
Here, you can also click back and now raise up. Ready? Pull. See that?
Ooh, cool.
And then we got our key. We do them all?
Yeah.
See that? This torque wrench allows you, makes it so you can't over tighten them. Because I set it at 129 foot-pounds of torque. Overall, I really like how these red brake caliper covers turned out, and I also like how the black lug nuts really complemented and finished off the look. If you guys are interested in purchasing some of these, I'm going to have some links down below in the description. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share this video with a friend, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.